What's up, good people? Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth. It's your boy, and I'm Tommy.
And I'm Lance. And today we're pulling the curtain back on something we all have felt, but not everyone will admit.
Yeah. Hey, rank does not always mean respect. Sometimes it's military politics. Sometimes it's race. Sometimes it's just good old favoritism. But let's talk about it.
Yeah. All right. Did you ever feel overlooked or disrespected despite your rank? And what was that moment like?
All right. So for me, my career is a little different, right? Not different than a million people, but it was just different because most of my leadership positions, I was the young buck.
Okay.
You know, so I was the one that had the lowest time and grade or the lowest years in service. So, like for instance, when I became a squad leader, it was months after I just pinned on, Sergeant E5, and people still see you as specialist promotable because I was specialist promotable on that base for probably about a year, give or take. And so getting your voice and getting in those conversations, it's one of those where you basically have to prove you know what you're doing, so them jokers will back up.
Right.
But it was never, I don't think it was ever like blatantly disrespected. I think that's sort of a coming to pass for
I understand.
soldiers are. And then when I made platoon sergeant, I think I sort of talked about it before, I was a brand new staff sergeant as the headquarters platoon sergeant. And I had seasoned sergeant first classes in charge of all the other platoons, maintenance and the other two line platoons. So that was the one that challenged me, and it sort of makes you, if you think about it, and I know this is kind of hard to say, but it's actually true, that I don't think they disrespected me as a person, but they disrespected or were, as you say, hating or angry or whatever.
You didn't feel like you
you
earned it or spent the time
exactly.
You had the same authority that they had when they.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and so when I first, as a platoon sergeant, that continued until I was just like, hey, we can keep this about the military,
Say enough.
yeah, or, we could do some stuff that, we could take it behind the shed or whatever. I was like, because y'all ain't going to keep over talking me. Y'all ain't going to keep volunteering my platoon to do all the daggone details, and it's going to have to adjust, right? And then after that moment, things started to change a little. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if it was hate or rites of passage. You know what I'm saying?
Seeing what they can get away with.
Yeah, and to see if what I do about it. So that's why I don't feel as disrespecting. Same thing happened when I was a first sergeant, because I was fresh, in time and grade, and
I think you take it a little bit at the beginning of a rank, or or if it's like a leadership position, because you're trying to fill out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they trying to see who you are.
Right.
And the one thing that I always gave myself and still give myself credit for was competency. I was always competent. Even if I was going into a new job, I was still, I knew the basics.
Okay.
And I knew how to push, and I also knew that leadership is something that people see in you, right, and not what's given to you. And that's why we're having that conversation today.
Yeah.
And then Sergeant Major, you still have them silly games when it comes to time and grade, class, stuff like that. But it was never, like, for instance, when I was the G4 Sergeant Major for a 2ID, I had Sergeant Majors worked under me, but they all but one outranked me, in time and grade. So, but by that time, I had learned how to build the team better instead of trying to prove who I am. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that it's happened often all the way through my career, and it was through different moments. But you tend to work through it if you're a capable leader.
Right.
What about you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's probably. I mean, that's something. I mean, and you just said it, where it's like throughout my career, and it's partly because I look young. I mean, I look young now, but I really looked young when I was in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. I didn't start looking a little older till I got to my 50s. But
that's when I met him, y'all. So he been old.
That's when I started looking a little older.
He been old a long time.
But I think coming in, I mean, I would get mistaken for every assignment that I would go to. I started off when I was lieutenant. It was specialist. Everybody thought I was a specialist coming in.
Right.
Then by the time I was like captain major, it's like, oh, we got a new sergeant. We got a new E5 or E6 coming in. I'm just like, nah.
Hold on, yeah. Slap me in the head with his ID card.
So that piece just from the just because of the appearance and then how I would
associate with people.
how I would associate with people and care, because I didn't I wasn't standing on somebody's, put myself above them or standing on somebody's neck like I was better than folks, And then being in the hospital, and the hospital, the way that the same rank structure for the officers, but the surgeons, the doctors get promoted. They're promoted a little quicker than everybody else, that the nurses and the physical therapy. Yeah, and that's because they're trying to retain those guys and keep. So they're trying to keep their money equivalent to what their actual, what they would kind of be making, which was not really what they, if they were on the outside as residents or whatever. Right. So you would get some guys that would be the same rank as you, or might even be a rank over you, that hadn't done the stuff that you've done military wise.
Right. And leadership wise.
Leadership wise. But as far as like their clinical skill, I mean, they were awesome clinical, a lot of awesome clinical doctors, taking none of that away from them. But as far as the leadership, the military, I mean, all of that stuff, they were not at the same level. Right.
Because they didn't have
they didn't have it.
Right.
Yeah. So then, that's the piece that I would always run, especially when I got to be my field grade, when I was major, lieutenant colonel, running into folks, because I would come around and folks that didn't know, and thinking that they were the top dog in the room or whatever, and be like, because they see everybody else with, oh, sir, hey, and they're talking, I'm like, hey, what's going, and they're like, this Colonel Taylor, oh, sir, but they would always, but it was never, coming in and they were just like, oh, here comes until they knew after they knew who I was,
right?
Then it wasn't a what you call it. I mean, and I will say that for especially the vast majority of them, especially after I was lieutenant, especially lieutenant colonel and colonel, it was never. I mean,
so you're saying like when they saw you, they automatically did not assume that you were either a peer or higher. Yeah.
Yep, never. Yeah. I mean, I never at what you call it.
Really?
Until then when they knew.
All right, saw you in uniform.
Then the words, because we didn't. I mean, we wore scrubs. In the hospital, you're wearing scrubs, especially where I work.
Y'all wear name tags?
Yeah, well,
with
we have a badge.
Badge with
the Air Force. Now the Air Force will wear a name tag with their rank on it.
Okay.
The Army, we just have our badge on, or you have.
Does it have your rank on it? The badge?
I'm trying to think. No, I don't think. No, yeah, it did on the very bottom, I think.
Okay.
Can't remember what those badges look like.
You have to look for it though.
Yeah, I mean it was small, and you would have to be, and they were hanging on lanyards and stuff. So unless you were, what you call it, but again, it was. I hadn't run into any situation where I had folks try to test you as far as like seeing what you know. Yeah. But as far as being
blatantly,
blatant asshole behavior, type of disrespect,
right?
I mean, and I'm trying to think if I ever had a situation. The only thing I can think is like somebody trying to test trying to test your knowledge of of a situation, or and it's just like, and beknownst to them is like that's how I was brought up and learned that way. That as like I know that I had to know more or be on top of more because of being a
black male nurse,
black officer. Being a black officer. And that's just how we were taught in coming up in college. Our ROTC program in college is like, you better know this shit. If you don't, you're gonna get embarrassed by something.
Give them a reason.
Yep. I mean, because you got a lot of guys that are academy graduates and stuff, and they're living that every day, so they know it. A lot of them, so that they'll test you if you give them a reason to.
Right.
So. Yeah. But but nothing. Like I said, nothing that was blatant disrespect, and nothing that was lasting and lingering after we established what the rank was, whether it was lieutenant to colonel. So.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then: do you think some ranks automatically command more respect than others, or is that still in that?
No,
something earned?
Yeah, they do. I mean, they do in enlisted and officer wise. I mean, it's just. I mean, I can speak on officer. Coming in, you're a lieutenant. You're a butter bar.
Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you. I mean, you're on the same. I mean, you're looking at that private first class, or that private. Yeah, because coming in, you don't know as much as military, that specialist. Yeah, because the specialist is. They could have been in a leadership.
8 years, 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So they know what you call it. You don't know anything coming in. So I mean, you're not gonna get the respect, but earning it, starting you learn how to start earning that by learning your job and learning your different positions that people are working. I mean, by actively like humbling yourself and
no, you're right,
becoming
100%.
that. But
100%.
by the time that you get to, I think that when I got to be a captain and got to be like probably a seasoned mid 2-3 year captain. I was like, I know what the hell I'm. You start getting that. You start getting some more respect.
Smelling yourself.
Oh yeah. And by the time you're a major, it's like okay, you start messing around a little bit, but then you're the low man on the totem pole again in the field grade world, and you're dealing with folks, and you're in jobs where you're dealing with folks that are your lieutenant colonels and your colonels that. But once I got to that. Lieutenant Colonel. I mean, once I was Lieutenant Colonel, senior major Lieutenant Colonel, it was. And then when I pinned that bird on, it was a done deal, son. It was over.
So
I was like,
can you not see by?
Yeah. Wear my stuff. I mean, that was a. But by that time, I knew my job. I knew the military. I mean, I was super confident with anything that I was going up against, anything that I was talking about. I mean, I knew it, but that comes with when you're in a field for so long, or you've been with an organization for,
and the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, so and you wanted to do good because it wasn't just. I mean, because I felt like I wasn't just representing myself. I'm representing my folks too, because their folks will talk about you, and people will, from other areas will know, be like, oh, you such is your boss. It runs y'all department. Yeah. So
you mean the one that don't say nothing in the meetings?
That's right.
Yeah, that's your boss. Yep. Oh, okay, that's your king.
I mean, but and you can tell me if it's something different for y'all. But I tell you from an officer's perspective, you get that. You get that that E7, E8, E9. I mean, that's just you. I mean, before you even really know them, you expect. I mean, for me, it was an expectation that I had for them before I said, okay, I got some garbage. What the hell is going on? This is some bullshit. Yeah. Because when you get a really good one, because I had some really good E7s and E6s, especially when I was in my. When I was at Bragg, some soldiers that were like, when I went back to the hospital, I was like, What the hell are you doing? Yeah, I would get pissed. I mean, you get an attitude because it's like, come on,
Yeah.
that's not.
Not everybody, every rank is created equally.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, in that
that's
arena,
a whole nother
but
thing.
yeah.
So I mean, so for me, it's the same, absolutely, and it goes off of the expectation, right? So from the enlisted side, when you have a star on your chest, right, a sergeant major, and you walk into a room, a space, you're automatically given that respect by 99% of the people you meet, no matter what their rank is, whether it's a 4-star general or a private, right? You're given that space of this joker's competent, this joker's experienced, this joker's capable. Got it, right? And then, and the same thing for general level, 1, 2, 3, or 4-star. When you see somebody with that, there's an expectation that they've checked a block, and the blocks they checked have them ready to be that, because not everybody becomes a sergeant major and not everybody becomes a general.
Nope.
The full bird, from my perspective, the full bird is where it's the second rank where I'm like, they're my battle buddies, first off, as a sergeant major, but that's the second rank, lieutenant colonel's first, to where I don't expect to see much weaknesses. I expect to have shared basically the same experiences, and because we're all around that 20-year time frame.
That's what you would expect.
That's what I'm saying.
Depending
Yeah.
on what.
Let me clarify. Yeah, that's the perception that you have when you see a general, when you see a full bird, when you see a blah blah, and then when you see a sergeant major, command sergeant major, and so forth. When you're a first sergeant, you're still a level short, so I'll probably say like 70% of the people automatically respect you, because most of the seniors have served with other first sergeants, and they're automatically looping you into whatever they're used to. And then you still have to show yourself. And then when you're a master sergeant, which is the same pay grade as a first sergeant, E8, but as a master sergeant, you're seen as a staffer, right? And so it doesn't mean people don't respect you. It's just that the majority of the people don't see you as being that first sergeant,
That's
right?
the wild card.
So they'll either, so they'll either come, I can see you as a first sergeant, or they'll say, you ain't never been a first sergeant, huh? Because just it's a different conversation, right? Sergeant first class, which is the E7 rank, it's one of those where it's the first level of senior leadership on the non-commissioned officer side, but you still have to see, because there could be some fast trackers who are squared away but have no experience. And then there could be some fast trackers who you wonder how in the heck they got there. Yeah. And so it's all, it's one of those things that you can't afford as a leader to assume that the ranks you have working with and subordinate to you are at a certain level. You have to immediately figure it out, And so like I said, when I was a G4 sergeant major, I had these other sergeant majors working under me. I had 4 sergeant majors working under me. And 2 of them outranked me by a year, because they were a class ahead of me, and then the other 2 were behind me. And so I couldn't assume that all of them are sergeant majors and capable of doing things. I literally had to verify simple ways, without trying to brush, because they are your brothers, your peers, but because of the titles, there is a difference as far as what we do. But in the beginning, when I got these new sergeant majors, and they outranked me, they had problems with the situation, but we were able to work through it. And in my mind, we figured it out, because I never, I just told them what I expected from them, and that's what I expected, and they lived up to it. So we never had any issues. But I've had as being on the division staff as the G4 Sergeant Major, I've had to have confrontations with battalion and brigade sergeant major, command sergeant majors. Yeah. So it's one of those where you have to, no matter what rank you are, if they can't see you, I mean, they meaning the people surrounding you or the people you're engaging, if they can't see those leadership traits in you, then you're going to have to climb that mountain.
Yeah, I mean, at that rank and at that level, though, it's like you have to know also in your mind is like, man,
you'd think
you know that this is what this kind of looks like. I mean, because you had to seeing it by serving under, by being a good follower and just.
But not everybody's a good follower, which
true.
means they're not a good leader.
That's true.
Yeah, but the assumption, and just to put it like in the civilian world, say you go in, and I always use McDonald's because, hey,
that's your favorite
I like
place.
McDonald's, right? But you walk in, and the people who are just running all over the place and trying to take your order and trying to pick up trays, those are, we'll say, like privates. All right. And then you have the different managers for the areas, like the line manager or the counter manager, whatever, drive-through manager, or the senior person in that. And you see that they're running a little less hectic, and you see they're controlling or working with their people to try to get what they need to do done. And then you have like the store manager or the restaurant manager who is mostly in the back. They'll come walking out just to take a lap or something. Or when it's a heavy time, like a bus pulls in, you're about to go to work. And they come out and help and stuff like that. But it's that type of thing where when you see the manager, they're in a different uniform, but they're acting different, and like you said, their faces usually ain't that
carry
young.
Themselves different. 100%. Yeah.
And the funnest thing was to always show up to my next duty station in civilian clothes and go in process somewhere, because you just go sign in or whatever, and you just walk in there in civilian clothes and everybody's just like, hey, how you doing, what's up now, and then they start looking for your name, and then they call off names, and everybody like so that was funny when I went to Korea, that happened. So but yeah, I think anybody can tell that no matter what your title is, if you can't see that in them, then the respect is absolutely going to have to be earned instead of just given. So,
all right, have you ever seen a leader weaponize their rank instead of earning it?
Yes. You mean every day? Yeah, you always see that. The person who always talks about, I'm the first sergeant, or I'm the platoon sergeant, those type of people.
You got to tell somebody.
Yeah.
In a forceful way that
who you are. Yeah, that's the problem. And then you have those people that when they're in their unit, they're quiet, but when they come to upper echelon meetings, now all of a sudden they're subject matter experts, and they're giving advice on how to do things, and then you walk in their company and nobody pays attention to their jokers and all that. So yeah, there are plenty of leaders that walk with their rank in front of them instead of their person, then the rank. I think that because of my size, I think a lot of people have assumed I was at least a decent leader, and my athletic ability. And then I think that when they finally had conversations or dealings with me, and then they were surprised, because a lot of times in the military, you don't think the most athletic ones are the ones that are the most competent when it comes to the job and mission. So, And I used to tell my soldiers all the time, you think I got at this table by accident? When I'm trying to mentor and develop future leaders, you have to explain to them that, like, say I'm with my boss, right? So as a senior enlisted advisor, I've worked with lieutenant colonels and full bird colonels. And I walk into a meeting and my battle buddy, my boss, hasn't saved the seat or hasn't paused the meeting until I get there, then I don't have my battle buddy's respect. You know what I'm saying? Or, say, for instance, he or she came to me and said, hey, or I went to them and said, I'm going to be late for the meeting. Then that's a different thing. But if something, because my boss, and we call them battle buddies, they know that if I'm not in the meeting early, then he's dealing with something and we're going to wait until he gets here so we can see what's going on. And that's the kind of trust and professionalism and respect that I can't say I demanded. It's the kind of trust I sought after.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I always tried to make sure that my battle buddy knew it was us. It wasn't me. It wasn't him. It was us. And I always had their back, and I expected them.
Right.
And I've been very fortunate. I've only had a couple of commanders that I had to close the door on. But when it came to me on senior leader and senior advisor, I've had some outstanding battle buddies.
Again, being in the hospital, you'll see them. You'll see folks try to. Well, I'm Major such and such, or I'm Lieutenant Colonel such and such, or I'm okay.
Yeah.
And what because a lot of things in the hospital, it goes to right is right, wrong is wrong. This is the standard. This is how we, and it's like we're not deviating from that because you feel like you want to do it, and just because you're gonna throw your rank around or try to, it doesn't. We're not doing. So, but it was. I would have to verbalize that to the staff, like, hey, if somebody's not doing something safely. Because that's a huge thing. They're not doing something. If we got a safety issue or something going on, stop it. Speak up.
Anybody.
So that was the biggest and the hardest thing to do, is try to get folks to speak up. Yeah. Because folks would be afraid of rank, and they'll be and certain individuals, because certain individuals try to buck up because they were. So I would say, if you get into a situation like that, call me. Have your folks, if it's the head nurse, I say, call me. I will walk over. I will, walk over or come out and see what needs to go on. So
make it right.
Yeah. So I would come and go do that. I would go into rooms and be like, "What's wrong? Yeah. What's going on?" And they would say, I'd be like, "Yeah, we're not doing that." Blah blah blah. And I said, "No, we're not doing that."
I just told you we're not doing that.
It's like, yesterday. Come up with another thing, or what else can we do to try to be accommodating? Because you're not just dealing with that person. We're dealing with a patient. You're dealing with a patient. So it's like we don't have time to be arguing about this is what we're not going to do. So what can we do that's going to make, this is what we would suggest, and it just be silly shit where they didn't like it because they didn't like that certain thing, but it was the same thing to get the job done, so.
But that's the downfall of great leaders, because there's always somebody who thinks they're smarter than everybody else, thinks they're the ones that should be in charge, or they know the right way. And if you as a leader aren't aware of who that person is, that can cause so much problem, because the first thing a lot of people say that feel that way is, I don't care what they said. I'm telling you to, and that's not the way it goes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the, getting people to
weaponize,
speak up. Weaponize, and then just getting people to speak up when they knew that, no, we're not that. Just say, don't be upset. I mean, don't be afraid or whatever. Yeah. I'll come in, and I said, because we could, because most of the folks that are in those, I tell you, folks that that are working in your hospitals, you're in military, they are highly trained. They know what they're doing, from your medics up to your surgeons and the people that are working with them. I mean, everybody knows what they're doing. So you got a lot of smart people running around there, and
True.
everybody has their opinions and ideas. And when you have people that work on the outside, what's it called?
Civilians?
Out when they do their off-duty employment.
Oh,
And they're
yeah.
working in some of the civilian places and things like that. And they see how some of those places go. Well, some of those places, well, not some, a lot of those places are money makers. They're trying to crank out. So they'll
Volume.
They're a little more
Loose.
Yeah, I mean, and not in a, I'm not gonna say not in a bad way, but they're a little more loose than what we do. Well, our standards that we have in our military facilities.
Right.
So, and they see that and say, well, they do such and such. It's like, well, they ain't supposed to, or we ain't doing it that way. That's not how we do it here. So you run into some of that sometime,
But I'll just say this, as a leader, as a senior leader, responsible for subordinate leaders, you have to identify what type of leaders you have serving under you, whether it be on your staff or your unit. Because if you have those go-getters out there, you have to make sure that they're speaking in your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have those relaxed, lackadaisical type of leaders, you got to figure out how to put the fire on them, into them, without making it seem like you're targeting them. So it's a I would say this: first, identify it in yourself, because a lot of people who think they're go-getters aren't really go-getters, right? A lot of people that think they're go-getters are have gotten things right every once in a while, and they take that as a win. Whereas the go-getters are the ones that, hey, you told me to do this, I'm going to do that to the 10th level, and then come back to you and ask you what else you need, right? And that's the type of people that you hope that you can lead and create during your career.
Yep.
How did bias, whether it was racial, gender, or otherwise, right? How did it affect the way soldiers were respected or promoted in your career?
Folks in my field, I don't think that as far as promotion wise goes, you were promoted based off of your record.
Right. But also your annual review is written by your.
So that's all dealing with that's what I'm going to say. And that's dealing with who's in charge and the leadership thing.
Right.
So,
and you're ranked no matter what you do,
so,
you're ranked.
If I guess the one thing I can say for that is that you have, whenever you're getting counseled or whenever you're going over your annual review, and if something does not look right, or because you should read all of that before you sign it, and it should be gone over with you with your with the counselors, but before you go anybody signs your OER. Mm-hmm. You go over it with your person, and you let folks read, or you read it, and if you have questions or concerns or anything about it, you voice them at that time.
Yeah.
So if something is not to par, or doesn't read correctly, then you need to.
Yeah.
It needs to come up.
It's a little late.
Yeah.
That's just, that should have been explained throughout the reporting period.
If you were, if it was,
not going to shine
what I'm saying,
the way
though, is that
if
it's saying that you didn't do something, you're like, you ain't never tell me anything like that, then something's going to get changed. So it depends on who's in charge, and what kind of professional relationship you're having with that individual, because you'll know if you got something. I mean, you will be able to identify. I mean, you can identify if somebody has a
bias.
a racial bias or gender bias, or I mean, you'll
Good
be able
boys.
to see that. Yeah, you'll be able to see that. I mean, and again, a lot of times you would see it more often in opportunities, leadership opportunities, or just opportunities to try to
Jobs,
excel in different things, especially when
schools.
you're in your your younger ranks and stuff, when you're trying to
Build that.
build yourself, build your repertoire and show
Resume.
what you can do and build your record and do things like that. You'll see it where one person over here where you're like, they don't do shit, why can't I?
But they're the first one to go to school.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but that too, it needs to be when you see that, you're not the only one seeing it. He might be seeing it. She might, a lot of folks. So it just needs to come up so folks know it's like we not just gonna sit around and let. Because I had folks come and question me about something, and I would have to go over it with them, be like, "Remember when we talked about this 6 months ago?" Oh yeah. So what? I mean, I'm trying to understand, but it's very difficult to write a bad.
No, it's almost impossible.
Bad
if you don't
OER.
have the
now you
supporting.
can write some mediocre ones where you're just like that are equivalent to a
The better you
a
write,
bad,
the more you can
a bad one.
slide things past
with just
people.
different. I mean, and it's just a slide of
Different
different words.
words. Yeah.
It's just different words. Different words. How you're ranking folks and things like that. So I mean, it's you have to take ownership. I tell folks all the time, you have to take ownership of your career. 100%. Don't let someone else
from the jump.
Yeah, don't let someone else be the owner of your career and the guide and to direct. You have to you have to give a damn about that piece. I don't care how good of a clinical person you are, how good of a soldier, soldiering skills, whatever your job is. You have to take ownership of your career, and that's your evaluations, your awards, your counselings, things like all of those things make a difference in the when it comes to the promotion aspect of that job. So,
Agreed. Yes. I'll just take a different path because there are biases in everything you do. Right. There's going to be a soldier that you vibe with. There's going to be a soldier that you two are on the same sheet of music. There's going to be a soldier that no matter how much you try to talk to them, the communication is just jacked up between you two. And there's multiple reasons or biases that you can say that for. Right. So like when I come, when I'm sitting in the seat, and a soldier comes to me or a leader comes to me, at that moment that I meet them, I'm judging them or assessing them, right? Proper words. And I'm trying to see what type of person this is. So say, for instance, I'm sitting on as the first sergeant, right? And I get a new sergeant first class who's supposed to be one of my platoon sergeants. Mm-hmm. Now, when I'm sitting there, when I first meet them, I always sat them down and I just had basic conversations with them. It wasn't an I got you conversation. It was just trying to fill them out to see where their head is and to maybe get some type of revelation on what type of person they are. And then I have to take that and then I have to help build them to where I need them to be, right? And then, like I said, some people come in that office and you're just like, how in the world did you get here? And then you have some people come to the office and I'm going to lock on to this joker. This joker should be coming up soon.
Try to help. Yeah, you want to try to nurture that.
Right. But you just have to be careful with your biases because you'll miss something, whether it be on the great side or on the bad side, and so as a leader, especially as a senior leader, I'll just say biases are real. Biases are an everyday thing, but you as a leader have to work through that. right? Because you have to work through the, we'll call it the noise, so that you can see exactly what's in front of you. And then the flip side is the exact same way, the way Lance was saying. As a subordinate, you have to understand there's going to be biases. And that's what we loved about the military. The biases are going to be there, but the law in the military is, do you meet the standard? Do you succeed the standard? Or are you both failing the standard, falling short of the standard? That's the evaluation process. And so if say, for instance, I'm sitting there and or I'm coming into the office, because every time I went to a new job, I reached out to the next level of non-commissioned officer I was going to work with every time, because it was before I got to the duty station, because it was my responsibility to highlight who I am to them, so that when they meet me in person, the expectation from me was for them to have an idea, and then we can have a real conversation. Okay. And that's how I ended up getting selected to go serve as the G4 Sergeant Major instead of what I was actually sent there to do. And when you put yourself out there, that's you leaning forward and trying to get past any biases that they may have that are negative, but it also helps you get on the radar of any biases that are good. Like, for instance, I've been through leaders, and I was a leader that was, if you're physically fit, that made me think that you had some discipline about you and that you were a go-getter, right? That was a bias of mine. And then over the years, the more rank I made, that made me stop to say, are you smart enough? Are you smart enough? Do you have the intelligence to be able to bring in the other part of it, right? Because when I was a young leader, E4 promotable and so forth, if you weren't physically fit, that bias from me put you over here. And then if somebody was, then that was the person that, like, hey, let's go, because we could talk on runs, we could go to the gym.
One less stressor that you
identified
big part that you had to worry about. Where it's like, okay, you can put that energy into.
Yes, if you have the intelligence to. But like I said, coming up and through experience, you have to learn not to assess and say, ooh, got one. You have to learn to assess and say, okay, I'm going to have to pour into this person more on the fitness side, but allow this joker to use their knowledge and intellect to help think outside of the box, and then maybe help solve some of these problems around here, or vice versa. And so those are the decisions that leaders have to make within themselves, so that they can build a team or a group or a platoon, however you want to label it, so that they can basically just accomplish the mission.
I was going to say, sometimes the physical part, when you know that you have a good one, but they're not as good on the PT side, on the physical side, it's like, all right, come on, let's try to get the, because this is going to hinder you. I don't want you to be hindered. I need you to, because you got it. Where we need you to for mission completion and things
almost
like
got
that.
it.
But you gotta,
you got some work.
You gotta
to do.
put that, plug that piece in, because it's a requirement. Because it's like certain things that are required
that you can't run away from.
They're required.
And if you're subpar in one area, that will absolutely stop you from excelling, and stop you from making rank. So, and that's why I was saying it's both parties' responsibility to identify their strengths and weaknesses, and then present that and work on that, so that you can present a full soldier, right?
Yep. So, what advice would you give to a young soldier dealing with bias or lack of respect in the chain of command?
I would first say, like I just said, assess yourself and honestly rate yourself. All right. As a soldier, as a leader, whatever level you're on, Are you fully capable? Are you to standard, above standard, or below standard? If you can figure out that, if you honestly evaluate yourself, then when you walk into situations, you don't get hit upside the head.
Yeah.
Because you could leave one unit and be a superstar, right? Because the expectation was for something that didn't have the full package, right? But then you come over here, and now all of a sudden you're falling short, and you could sit there and convince yourself that it's a bias or it's a racism,
yeah,
whatever.
That's right. Depending on what you're doing, it's a different job. And
it's like, for instance, if you go to any other base in the world, right, outside of Bragg or Campbell, right, and calm down, but just listen to what I'm saying. When you go to Bragg, airborne is in the picture. Mm-hmm. When you go to Campbell, air assault's in the picture. You could have been a super person at any other base, and now all of a sudden you come to Fort Campbell and you can't pass the obstacle course. That's a leadership problem at Fort Campbell or Campbell, but Fort Hood is not. Right. And so, and there's nothing against the other bases. It's just being able to truly evaluate yourself and know what you're walking into.
Knowing that culture that you're walking into.
So that you can know what you're walking into and know what you need to work on, first off. Yeah. Secondly, if it's happening to you, then the best way to do it is identify it, track it by putting it in a journal or something, and then not only writing that this happened on this day or whatever, get some people that can collaborate.
Yep,
corroborate. Goodness, I'm messing up words again.
Collaborate.
Here you go. Get you somebody that says, yes, I saw it too.
What happened to
and
me?
Have them sign that book, right? Because if it's real, then it needs to be stopped. And there's nothing wrong with you, especially if it's against you or you see it happening to some other people, presenting it to the leaders, the leadership, so that it can get fixed.
It needs to be addressed.
Never let a problem keep going. Yep. Never. So if it's wrong, and you know it's wrong because you've researched and you've validated that it's wrong, then you need to track it in your journal, and then you need to get people that can support you so it doesn't look like you're just complaining because you're falling short in some area or not living up to the standard. Because the truth of the matter is the command voice is louder than the subordinate voice. Mm-hmm. Because the expectation is that the command's going to tell the truth.
Right.
That don't always happen, just like subordinates don't always tell the truth. But when you document things and you track it with witnesses, that makes your voice a whole lot harder to ignore.
Right. I mean, and you said it earlier as far as trying. I mean, if you're feeling that way, you need to talk to somebody so that and explain. Yeah. What you're feeling, what you're seeing, what's making you feel a certain way, so we can say it's like they're just counseling you, or that need because you're doing this, you're not doing that correct. So it should be some type of correct. It might be the way that they're presenting it that's not coming out correctly, but what they're trying to have you do is trying to make you a better at your job or at your whatever you're doing or whatever. Or if it's just blatant, like, okay, what is wrong with that person? Yeah, we need to take care of that, because you don't want something to become part of a culture, or you don't want your younger soldiers to see something going on like that. You know, somebody, down talking somebody, bullying somebody, whatever, if it's gender, race, or whatever. You don't want to see that. Yeah. Because you don't want them to see that's okay.
That's the way.
Yeah. Because they're going to say, well, as they keep going up, like, oh, well,
that's an option.
Yeah, that's how we that's what we can do. So, address it. Yeah, document it and talk to somebody, because it's. I mean, I know that it's many things that are available out there to help you address those things, to try to change that, because it's not right.
True. And one thing. He's 100% right, but I just want to make sure, right? When you identify a problem, the first thing you do is go to that problem. That's the first thing you do. If somebody is racist against you, the first thing you do is go to that person and not fight them. Try to have a conversation with them, because you are supposed to be composed when you are presenting a situation to somebody, because the expectation is they're automatically going to get defensive, and you don't want it to get out of your hands. Okay. So I'm talking about if this is a peer, or if it's a subordinate, or if it's higher. You should first confront the problem smartly. Identify it, then confront it.
And confront it with the facts.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you confront the problem, no matter whether it's higher, lower, or peers, if you confront the problem and it's not going to get fixed, and you were professional, because another thing I used to always tell my soldiers, never put yourself in a situation when you become the problem outside of the problem, right? Yeah. So if you are,
don't make you the problem.
Don't become the problem when you're trying to solve a problem. So, and it's, say you go to someone and you try to confront them and they're still chip on the shoulder and still standing 10 toes down, right? Then all you can do is fall back and document it, and make sure you have somebody that was there to witness it, and make sure you're not trying to set them up for an ambush or something. You're being professional. You're trying to find out what the problem is.
Right.
That you owe it to everybody that you're serving with to try to find the problem and fix the problem at the lowest level. Now, you try that and it doesn't work, then you absolutely elevate it. But you don't elevate it in a way to where it's just you. You don't elevate it in a way to where now it sounds like you're complaining, but you're presenting a problem that you've identified and you tried to fix. And the way it should work is your first line supervisor should be the one that has your back. If your first line supervisor is the problem, then you have an assistant leader, and then you have a leader above them. But don't ever take a problem, never take a situation and make it seem like you're whining or complaining because you missed the opportunity to professionally present it as a problem. So, because there are problems.
Yeah.
But most problems, that I've dealt with in my military career, can be squashed at the lowest level.
Yep.
And I still believe that's
that's what you want them to try to squash at the lowest level, because by the time it comes up to the higher, depending on where you are, it's a problem. Yeah, then it's a problem
for everybody. Because if you have to start getting other people involved, and I'm not saying push it to the side, I'm not saying ignore it and live through it. If it's causing you problems, then it's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, and you've gone through the steps to try to fix it at the lowest level, and it hasn't. Then absolutely bring it up so we can, because I can tell you most of your leaders, especially your upper leaders, they don't want that crap going on. And a lot of times, and it sounds bad, but it's not, because your upper leaders, they're doing a lot of stuff. I mean, they don't know some of the little, depending on how big your unit is, your department or whatever. When you got like 300 folks, 400, it's like you don't know every little thing that's going on. So some stuff when it gets up to you, you're like, what?
It's flying under the radar. Yep.
And it could have been going on for a couple of weeks, a month, or whatever like that. And people are, the people are super upset. You're like, I just got this. I didn't know anything about this. So, and then that's another,
and that's
why,
another
story.
Yeah, but that's also why, if you are validating that problem, and confronting sounds like a strong word, but it's a confrontation does not have to be physical. It doesn't have to be yelling. It doesn't have to be that. But when you have identify a problem, you go to that problem and you try to first verify it's a real problem. Secondly, try to fix it. And thirdly, elevate it if it's not fixed.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah, real talk. Real talk. All right, so check it out.
What's that?
We all wore the uniform.
That's true. Some wore longer than
That's
others,
right.
but
That,
go ahead.
6 months or whatever. We all earned the title, but not all ranks were treated equally.
Facts. And sometimes the system didn't see the full picture. What Lance was saying, you can't know what's in every corner of your house all the time. It's impossible. But you have to keep showing up and keep doing the job.
Yep, absolutely. And if no one else sees you, document it. Speak it. Speak on it. Build your village.
And your village means people that can corroborate.
Cooperating.
We're going to look that word up and we're going to use it strong in our next episode. I'm saying it wrong. I know I am. But anyway, you don't need everyone's respect to lead.
Nah.
But you can't let them take your dignity.
Yep.
Okay?
Not at all.
And people respect you once you've proven yourself to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know if you ever felt this while you were in your military career. Drop us a comment, DM us, or share your story with someone who needs to hear it.
Yeah. And don't forget, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at 4 Titles, 1 Truth. And please, whatever platform you're listening or watching our podcast on, please comment, rate us, and leave a review because it helps add to our ability to get out to more people.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. So join us next time.
Why?
Say it, because I think we need to keep the conversation going.
That's our job.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Holla.
All right.